19. Now, there have been a lot of issues that have come up concerning coronavirus, but let me just give you the latest updates, being the fact that as it stands, there have been some confirmed 75,000 or more cases in China and other parts of the world as well, majority of it being in China, the origin of the coronavirus. And unfortunately, over 2,000 people have passed on just recently. 2 more people died from the Diamond Princess, one from coronavirus being tested positive and one from pneumonia. And most of these people, 2 of these people actually were 80 years and above. And so there was also that conversation about the fact that when it hits people who are 80 years and above, it's more likely to kill them than the people who are younger. Now, Ghanaian students in China have been crying for government to evacuate them at least to Ghana or at least out of, the province where it originated from. And recently, the president, during his State of the Nation address, said that they would only evacuate them if it becomes necessary, because as it stands, they are still having discussions with some experts who think that they should contain the virus from the place of origin. And so as long as no Ghanaian student has been confirmed to have coronavirus, they think that they will protect them. And some money and food is still being given to them to ensure that they are fine. The NUG's president from China says he's still not convinced by the president's session. So we'll be speaking to Horace Ni Ayi Ankara, and he was in China under the Mahama government. And so he'll be telling us a bit more about what he thinks about Ghana's preparedness towards fighting the pandemic in case we confirm a case in Ghana. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're well.
I'm fine, thank you. Pleasure.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
What do you think about the president's statement at the State of the Nation concerning the evacuation of students?
Well, I think that, let me say a very good morning to your viewers. I think it's a good call. Most times when these things happen, we tend to panic. And I also believe that a place like China has the facilities. And if this thing sort of started in China, why do you want to export it?
But the students are saying that their lives are at stake.
I believe in the embassy. I believe in the ambassador there, and I think that they will do their best to making sure that Ghanaians are safe. And for me, I think that China has the facilities. Now the numbers seem so scary because, well, Chinese are so many.
Yeah.
You understand? Chinese are so many. So, and this thing started in what? Is it Wuhan?
Yeah, in Wuhan. Yes, in
it
Hubei province. Yeah,
started in Wuhan. So I should think that if for anything at all, Ghanaians in Wuhan are those that has to be taken care of. I think that China has the facilities to making sure that Ghanaians are safe, and the embassy. I also trust the ambassador that he is doing his best to making sure that Ghanaians in China are safe.
But they are saying that nobody has paid them a visit. Now, they're even asking to be evacuated from the Wuhan, city, at least out of the origin of coronavirus, to another city that may not have as many cases, so that they know that government is still considering them. You started a campaign when you were in China, that Ghanaian lives in China matter, where you were constantly getting in touch with the Ghanaians living in China.
Yeah,
and so
I traveled the length and breadth of China, making sure of Ghanaians there. And I believe that the current administration in China is doing the same. Now, this is a situation where it's not just the Ghanaian embassy officials who can easily or just travel to anywhere at all and say, the Ghanaian matter, therefore I'm coming to Wuhan.
But other countries are doing it. They're evacuating their people.
They're doing it through, what do you call it, the Chinese authorities, obviously. And if the Chinese authority are saying that, yes, the Ghanaian life is safe, I think that China has enough facilities, and they're doing what they can. And, well, countries like America actually has evacuated its citizens.
A lot more of them.
I think from
the Diamond Princess?
Yes.
Yes.
But I don't think that they're doing it all over China.
Okay.
They're not doing it all over China because the facilities are there. And I think that with the cruise ship, that is very unique. I mean, obviously, there's a point that you could go and get a certain number of your citizens and then take them back to your country. But across China, the facilities should be there. And, well, I don't have any report on that, but I do not think that the embassy will just sit down aloof, not even...
The students said it themselves, that they have not exactly had people come to them, to at least offer some support. They only know that they're receiving some amount of money, which government committed to, but that's all.
The problem in China, which I remember that we were even trying to correct, is that the country is so huge. Where is the president? You understand? I remember that there was this time where the president was in one province, the secretary of news was in another province. So they say different things. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
It is even very difficult for them to actually come together, to even have meetings.
Okay.
Yeah. So in our time, we were even trying to decentralize the student union.
Okay.
Are you getting me? Because even in Beijing alone is the size of Ghana, with almost 30 million people. But trust me, I'm certain that the embassy will be doing its best. I have confidence in the ambassador.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that they will certainly be taking steps to making sure that the Ghanaian in China is safe. And I believe that they're safe.
Do you have confidence in the Ghana Health Service? Because we also had a forum just last week talking about coronavirus, and there was something that hit hard. And that was the fact that Dr. Norman, who is the head of the Institute of Emergency Cases, said that he thinks that Ghana is a joke when it comes to our preparedness towards handling the outbreak, if there should ever be a confirmed case in the country. Looking at how much money we've committed to it and how little that amount of money is, and the fact that we've put up a quarantine center at, the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, and we think that's enough to resolve the issue, when in actual fact that's not.
Ghana is not safe from any form of disaster that will hit this country.
Okay.
I can give you a clear example. Forget about this coronavirus thing. I mean, 31st December, I don't know whether you were in town.
I was.
And then there was a concert on the Spintex Road. And even the traffic in town.
Yeah.
It tells you that in case of any emergency, if people were to be evacuated, where? The infrastructure is not there. NADMO is not resourced to the point where they can actually handle any form of disaster. So in any shape or form, if this country should be hit with any form of disaster, trust me, we'll definitely be in trouble.
But that's a problem then.
It is a huge problem. And that is why I keep saying that, look, set priorities right. What is it that we have to be doing? Another example of us being, littered with how many ambulances? One constituency, one ambulance. Where is the infrastructure? These ambulances get stuck in traffic. Let's get the infrastructure right. And when we get infrastructure right, anything at all that we do will sort of like enhance the Ghanaian. But if we don't have the facilities, any form of outbreak will sort of like actually.
But that's the thing, your government was in power. They had a number of years to at least put in place some of these measures. We don't have to wait for an emergency or for an outbreak.
That is why my government, when we were in power, we saw a host of cheap compounds. We saw a host of hospitals being built. We saw a host of polyclinics being constructed. We saw a host of health posts being actually put in place to making sure that these sort of things can be addressed immediately. Now, if you think that ambulances is, and of course, it's not a bad thing at all. It's a very good initiative. But I believe that the infrastructure should be there. You understand? If the infrastructure is there, then I think that we will have better use of it.
What about creating awareness? Because believe you me, I think that the media is even championing this whole coronavirus campaign, even more than governments, because the media platforms are the one constantly churning out information about what's happening here and there. And all we've gotten from governments, the fact that, we're still interacting with government officials to see what we can do to evacuate students. We have just a few options when it comes to quarantine centers. And just this weekend, there was news about the fact that the University of Ghana has given one of its buildings for a quarantine center, just in case there should be an outbreak on campus. And so the work is being done, but by everyone else apart from government.
Yeah, that is why I said to you that I believe in the embassy because I've worked there. I believe in the ambassador there, because I know him, what he can do. And I'm certain that Ghanaians in China certainly will be taken care of. As in this government, I think that they've never taken the sort of initiative that would address this matter in case Ghanaians will have to be evacuated down here and they are infected with this.
Are we politicizing this situation?
No.
If you say this government has not?
Because they haven't. They haven't done anything about it.
What differently would you have done if your government was in power? Because then we'll still be speaking the same language.
What we would have done differently is exactly what we did when I was in China.
With the CHIPS compound. Okay, when you're in China.
Yes. Where the Ghanaian in China matter. And when you bring that into this country, you realize that in terms of Medicare, healthcare, we did a lot.
Okay, like?
The country was littered with cheap compounds. The country was littered with, what do you call it, polyclinics. Hospitals were being built and stuff like that. You understand?
Okay.
So you could see the preparedness and the sort of like, what should I say, readiness of the government to making sure that in case of anything at all, the facility is there to address these things.
But your tenure in China was marred with a lot of controversy, and there are people who sent in messages talking about the deportation of Ghanaians living in China, the fact that even Nigerians had easy access to documents that made them seem to be Ghanaian, at least so they can find jobs, whereas the Ghanaians who had, the Z visa and all of that were being arrested. Well, they've sent messages.
No, hold on.
And you were not able to do as much to protect the Ghanaian, even though there was a campaign that said that Ghanaians mattered in China.
The Ghanaian that matter in China was initiated by myself.
Yes.
I traveled the length and breadth of China. And traveling the length and breadth of China is not an easy thing. I initiated it. I visited so many provinces to meet Ghanaians. I made sure that even companies in China like Sinotrack, actually signed something with me to making sure that even Ghanaians schooling in China could have internship in those companies.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked with schools to making sure that we have how many scholarship, university places for Ghanaians, 200 of them annually is what? On scholarship. Nobody came to, and I'm even certain that even the MPP, ambassador there, will certainly make sure that no foreigner gets a Ghanaian passport.
But these are messages from former residents and even some residents still in China.
Former residents, check that whether in our time any passport or any document, was initialed by myself for anybody who is not a Ghanaian.
During your time?
To actually acquire a Ghanaian passport.
But that's when they were making those claims.
No. Nothing of that nature actually came to my desk.
Or were you not aware of it?
Nothing of that nature happened. It wouldn't come to my desk.
Not a single case of a Ghanaian being arrested for having 2 or more jobs without, the right visa and all of that.
If you are in China, if a Ghanaian was in China, and don't have papers, that same thing could have happened to that Ghanaian in the UK, in the US, Australia.
Some of them said they actually did have the papers. They were still arrested and the embassy didn't do anything to protect them.
That is not true. That is not true. I can refer you to a gentleman, Mr. Odami, and you can interview Mr. Odami, and he would actually tell you the number of places that we went to actually see to the fact that a Ghanaian is released. We take them to the airport if they have to be deported, and make sure that those Ghanaians are taken care of.
The reason I'm asking this is because you mentioned that this government has not done enough in terms of preparedness towards fighting the coronavirus.
Yeah,
these messages came up saying that, well, he's accusing this government of not doing much, but when he was in power, there were lots of human rights abuses against Ghanaians in China.
Listen, any human rights abuse in China during our time was actually seen to. I even initiated for Ghanaians in China to actually have amnesty. But dealing with a country like China, it's not an easy thing. You understand? It's not an easy thing.
Why is it not easy?
Wow, the Chinese, for you to achieve anything at all, is going to take a long, long time. Whoever sent this message is aware of that. And I, Horace Ni Ayi Ankra, nobody in the embassy that I am aware of actually signed documents for Nigerians or other nationals to actually acquire anything Ghanaian.
Not a single case. But we do even understand that even in Ghana, how they are able to acquire.
And do not forget that even if these documents were actually put together in China. They are brought to Ghana here, yeah, for the final steps to be taken. You understand? We don't issue passports in China. Passports are issued in Ghana and then sent to us, and then we give it out to the individuals.
But at least if you know someone who knows someone who knows someone,
well, you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody.
If you're able to pay,
hold on.
Is it not easier?
Even if it's happening here, yeah? Even if it's happening here. And then there is a case that happened in China. I don't think that is something that one could actually look at and say that, oh, your time in China was marred by these sort of things. Nothing of that nature happened. Whoever sent that should send the evidence, bring it here, and make sure that Horace Nii Anyankra has his signature on that.
Well, they're watching, and if you are hearing what Horace Nii Anyankra is saying, kindly send some more evidence concerning that. Well, they made those accusations, so maybe they have some evidence.
Let me tell you something. It did not happen. It wouldn't happen. It never happened under my watch. I never signed anything to say that, oh, give this passport to this individual when everything is showing that this individual is actually a Nigerian. Let's
talk about the trade relations between China and Ghana and how coronavirus is impacting us, because we do understand that when it comes to the two of us, there's this agreement of, trade relations. And so if the economy of China is being heavily affected by the coronavirus, and it's been said by, through a study that Ghana is one of the sub-Saharan countries that will be heavily hit, by the coronavirus outbreak, across the world. And so to you, someone who has lived and worked in China for so long, what do you think could be the impact, and how should Ghanaians prepare for that?
It's going to be serious. Obviously, it's not only Ghana, even the US. I mean, everybody imports from China because they have the cheap labor, and then they do manufacture and send these things out. So it's going to have effect on most countries that actually have this trading relationship with China. So things are not coming in now because traders are not even traveling to China to even get these goods that are affordable. So the effect is certainly going to be felt. The long-term sort of solution is that, hey, let us produce our own stuff. Let us manufacture our own stuff so that at least the Ghanaian is comfortable with made in Ghana goods. So that obviously, there's this interdependence. Nobody is independent these days, but at least if we were doing things right, putting things in place and making sure that we manufacture what we use, I think that's the impact will be
But
less.
This is a global phenomenon. No country is an island. So whether we like it or not, even if we're producing our own goods, we'll still be heavily reliant on other.
That is why I said interdependence is there. And, we can't isolate ourselves, but at least it will help.
Why are we not closing our ports?
As government.
Well, I'm asking you.
No. I don't have the authority to close our ports.
Yeah, but why do you think it's not being done? Countries are doing it. Now, Turkey has done it. Okay, so they've closed their ports. They are not allowing people from Iran to come in. They are not allowing goods to come in as well because Iran also was heavily hit.
Well, ask government, but if government doesn't have any answer to that, I believe that because what is happening now is that the virus is not close to Africa.
It was recorded in Egypt. That's Africa.
Well,
so it's closer than you think.
Well, we share borders with Togo, Ivory Coast.
Yeah, but you never know. I mean, if it's come to Africa,
you never know. But I think that government and the Ministry of Health will be the best places to actually pose this question.
Okay. Now let's talk about the Galamsey fight before we even wrap up on this, because it looks like the Chinese seem to have more power over everything, even in our country. I remember the Aisha Wan case and the issue of some other Chinese nationals who were deported when we were expecting that they would, be prosecuted for illegal small-scale mining in the country. Now we have this issue of some government officials allegedly being involved in the illegal small-scale. Exactly. And so there seems to be a problem, a big problem, in the sense that if we're not even able to prosecute the people who are getting involved in this, and we're saying that we're fighting Galamsey, then we're not making any headway.
Well, there's nothing wrong in actually mining new money. If I say mining new money, I hope you understand. Anything at all that will make the economy work is welcome. But Galamsey, as it is or was, have actually disturbed this country in terms of our water bodies, the environment, name them. And actually, these Chinese coming in to sort of like undertake this kind of illegal mining.
Yeah.
I remember during our time, the first thing that we did was for us to actually identify the province where they were actually coming from. And we actually blacklisted them. Nobody was coming from that province to Ghana.
Okay.
Yes, blacklisted them. And I remember...
Does that still exist?
It does.
Okay.
I wrote to Emirates, I wrote to Ethiopian Airlines, and they weren't taking any Chinese into Ghana. Okay, and that lady's issue,
Actually,
yes, where eventually the NPP actually had him
Had her deported.
and then
And
for favors.
Yeah.
It wouldn't happen under our watch.
How would it not happen?
Oh, why would you say, look, take your national back for this sort of favor? No, it wouldn't happen because in the first place, you can never ever go to China and indulge in any illegal thing and you think that you'll be free.
So why are we doing it here? That won't be the first case. I
Ask
mean,
this government.
Chinese
Ask this
mining
government. You see,
illegally in this country is nothing new.
Even talking about Galamsey, yeah, we had all the promises that anyone could have when the NPP wanted to come into government. Now Galamsey is worse. Our water bodies are destroyed.
They were destroyed many years ago.
Fine. And you said you were coming to fix it. You've made it worse. What you have actually done is take the equipment that were being used by these people, the excavators, share it amongst yourself, and then indulge in the same kind of crime. You take the daily bread of the Ghanaian, you gave your reasons, took their equipment, indulge yourself in that same crime. That is evil.
What would you have done differently, especially with the Aisha 1 case as well?
Aisha 1, guilty of illegal mining, make sure that Aisha 1 is behind bars. That is what the Chinese would have done with the Ghanaian.
But the senior minister said it would have affected trade relations.
What trade relations?
You would have lost money.
What sort of money? So somebody can come in here, do illegal stuff, and you say that, what are we going to lose if somebody had come into your country to get herself involved in such an illegal stuff? And you say, oh, when we don't release this sort of individual, yeah, we are going to lose. And then, in the long run, you are found wanting by taking equipment from people involved in this sort of Galamsey, share it amongst yourself, and you get to do the same thing. The gold that they have even found is missing, according to Kennedy Japan. It's evil. It's not just a crime, it's evil.
Okay.
It's evil. And for me, what I believe that has to be done, and I believe that the NDC government, incoming NDC government will look at, is that, you know something, even in China, if this is what is giving them the money that is needed, yeah, things will be put in place that we use science and technology to actually mine properly, use the science and technology to actually protect the environment, and if this is giving Ghanaians the employment that they desire, yeah, see to the best of how they can get employed by this and making sure that new monies are mined. So I think that it's actually worse now under this government, and they certainly has to be ashamed of it, because the promise that the Ghanaian had, the belief that they had that Galamsey or even the water bodies are going to get better is worse. And what is so bad about the whole thing is that, Bella, what you are doing is not right. I want to stop it. And then I take what you are using from you. I use it to indulge in that same thing. And the president is not even referring the seizure of those, 400...
Well, he did mention during the State of the Nation address that nobody would go unpunished.
Oh, come on. What are you waiting for before you can even refer it to...
Well, he's always said that you need to have concrete evidence before you prosecute anyone.
What sort of concrete evidence?
Investigations are ongoing.
By who? By the same ministers who shared, the excavators? By the same minister of environment who is involved?
Allegedly.
By the same president... Hold on, ma'am. By the same presidency that is involved, did we not see clearly on TV? The individual that is meant to actually mastermind the stoppage of Galamsey taking money?
But is that enough evidence? It's not. It's an allegation.
It's not.
Is it not an allegation? And he has come out to debunk.
Madam, am I on TV?
I do understand you. I'm just saying that.
Am I on TV?
You are.
Are Ghanaians see me? Okay. Did we see a gentleman on TV taking money in relation to Galamsey? Did the whole country see that?
I'm listening to you.
The whole country saw it. The whole country is talking about these excavators that went missing, shared amongst MPP officials. Kennedy Japan, who is an MPP man, is saying the same thing. What else do you need to refer the matter to maybe Martin Amidu's office? Are you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Refer it.
Okay.
Refer PDS to Martin Amidu. Refer this Galamsey thing to Martin Amidu. Refer all those things. I mean, there's so many things that happened.
Referred to him.
Look, but for the due diligence in Parliament by the NDC parliamentarians, this country would have been a mess.
Okay, well, this is all time will allow us. Thank you so much, Horace Nia Ankara.
It's my pleasure.
And, well, let me still say it anyway. So he's a former ambassador to China. And so it's been a pleasure speaking to you.
My pleasure.
And I do hope that at least talking about the students, we will find a way forward, even though it's been said that cases of the outbreak in China have declined. So that is some sort of good news.
I wish them well. I wish them well. And I have the belief in the embassy there that they'll see to the welfare of the Ghanaians in China.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. It's still TV3 New Day. Some more conversations are coming up. Later as well, we'll be speaking to the winner of Mentor Reloaded. He's in the house with us, and he gets to win a 2-bedroom house. And the finale took place last night, keenly contested. And so he'll tell you all about, how he was able to clinch the title from his other competitors as well. So it's TV3 New Day. We'll be back with more.
Shady Roma to me.
Roma insecticide spray and mosquito fell. And Tonton Master, a bayer Jumanama. She's so madahati. Roma insecticide spray at that Roma. Interfere, Entatia, make it no way. Shemikunu, and Tonton Bako Crown Fanimu, and also a pussy. Roma insecticide spray and mosquito coil. I'm out there with a shout. Roma,
Roma and Tonton Master.
My name is Iraja.
My name is Giselle. I used to have problem with hair relaxers.
Kanino na mi train bubu. Mi share chapter 2000 hair relaxer and then mi train I say come on.
No burn, no irritation chapter 2000. The new chapter in hair relaxing.
I choose Chambers Chapter 2000 because it helps my hair grow healthy, strong, and even thicker.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Golden trees for you.
Cocoa Processing Company, producers of your favorite King's Bite chocolate, has introduced new Golden Tree products. Hooray! These include TQ Premium Dark Chocolate in 70, 80, and 90 variants, Heritage Premium Nut Chocolate